Hi everyone, welcome back to the London Football Show. Obviously Boxing Day, have a lot of Premier League fixtures going on right now. We'll start off with Ross because I think it's our first podcast since Amrim got appointed or since he started managing the club. What are your thoughts on him so far?
I think overall I'm impressed with how he's gotten off to start with United. I think whilst I don't necessarily agree with sacking Ten Hag or sacking managers halfway through the season, the only or one of the positives I can notice is that Amrin has come at a time where he can utilize these 6 months or second half of the season to see which players are good enough for him and aren't, and also understand the tactics, the culture of the club. That way he can go into the summer transfer window with a better understanding of what he wants instead of relying on previous managers, previous tactics, previous coaches' notes. He gets the first-hand experience, and therefore, again, whatever happens next season or in the future is down to him because he's had first-hand to see what's going on, to see what he can do, to pick out the weakness, and hopefully, as well as the board backing him, he goes in summer window, gets who he needs, and then we I guess, challenge or fight for something next season, whether it's a trophy, cup competitions. I mean, who knows? We might even do it this season. We still got FA Cup, still got Europa League. As a United fan, a trophy's a trophy. I feel like people do take that for granted. Um, you got to remember, there's not much as an English football club for us to win. You've got maximum four trophies, I think it is. You've got the Prem, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, and a European competition. And if you're even lucky, if you win a Champions League, you get the Club World Cup. But maximum is four. So if we manage to win one or two, I cannot complain.
And
Mm.
obviously spoken about it briefly. Rashford sort of being frozen out now. Does that give you confidence now that the club are finally allowing the managers to like make the decisions? Because obviously with United, there's always the politics maybe going on where certain players have to be played. So does that fill you with optimism now that Amrim is going to be maybe first manager since maybe Fergie, you could argue that's going to be allowed to manage and do what he wants basically?
I mean, definitely, he does give that almost that Fergie presence. I mean, obviously I wasn't specifically alive to remember it. However, looking back at the history, we have sold a lot of United greats or legends who you could argue should have never been sold. Let's look back at, I think it was 2003, the Beckham boot incident was gone. One of our best legends, one of our best players. We have let go of players before, especially during the Fergie era, and we have managed to rebuild. Even when Ronaldo left, we got new players in. We still managed to win three more titles. So it can be done. It might not, obviously, we haven't, no one can ever replace Ronaldo. He's one of the greatest players. But the fact that we still went on to get to a Champions League final, win three more Prems, do well, it shows that you can rebuild. It might take some time. It might not be perfect. But as long as you come in with the mentality that, as we mentioned previously off the call, no one's position is safe. Everyone fights for the club, the badge, and for their starting 11 is a positive start for me. And I think just in particular with Rashford, given that he is a United Academy player, born and bred through the club, I feel like there are definitely personal emotions involved, specifically with this player. I think it's always tough to get rid of one of your own. Just to compare, Chelsea, I know they're quite ruthless when it comes to getting rid of their academy players or players that they brew through the system. But with United, with us being the Busby Babes, the class of 92, it's never been easy for us. So it's nice to see that Amarin, he's able to put his emotions aside. He's purely focused on the business side of things and what's best for the club, for the team, for himself and the fans, and move forward. I do feel personally Rashford didn't handle it the best way. I think Amarin has managed to, tweak it or make it look a bit more decent than what it is. But, like I said, he's done well for the club. I think he's achieved what he could. He's done what he can. I wish him all the best, and whatever happens in the future happens.
You
And
think you
that's
get money for him in, do you think what you get rid of him in Jan loan, or do you think you get money for him in January? What do you think?
It's tough. I mean, January transfer windows have always been hard. I mean, there's very, very, very few players that actually, you could say in a January transfer window went well. Just specifically off the top of my head from United, I remember we signed Vidic and Evra in January in 06, 07, I think it was, or 05, 06. But
Yeah,
it
I
is
remember
very
this.
hard that players that you sign in January do get off the mark. Again, I don't know where he will go. There's links that London clubs such as Arsenal might want him. Um, Again, I don't know if he would go given his stature and status of being a United boyhood player. It'll be interesting. Money wise, again, I'm not too sure how much clubs will play. I mean, knowing that, given the situation and the tension that's been, I guess, adrifted, maybe his price might go down. You may come across that word desperate to get rid of him. Maybe that might, decrease his value. Who knows? But at the end of the day, the manager's always held accountable. No matter how bad the players before perform, it ultimately falls on the manager. You never see players getting made redundant or sacked. It's always the manager. So I'm going to trust the manager, trust the system. If he believes Rashford is no longer fit for the club and it's not best for business, that's his choice. However, I will expect in return a reaction, a response. You've got rid of a winger. We need someone on the left hand side. I'm not saying Rashford was the greatest players, but I would say he was, for United's level at this kind of stage, one of the better ones. So who's going to fill in this gap? We've also seen the situation with Garnacho as well, being left out of the Man City squad. He's been back on the bench, but there's been rumors spreading around, so we don't want to lose two wingers, whether they're good or not, going into the January and the second half of the season. So it's now for him to then do his research, get his scouting team on point, go and find someone that can fill in the gap for Rashford and potentially Garnacho, and then go forward from there on.
James, your thoughts on Man
Um,
United, the Rashford
it's a,
situation,
di-
and
it's a
Amorim as a whole?
difficult it's a difficult one. He's got a free hit with the rest of the season. I think he'd want European football at the end of the season for next season. That would create more of an opportunity for him to sign the players. So I think the rest of the season is just a free hit for him. In terms of like certain players, I can't remember which manager had it, but recent manager had it with Jadon Sancho that like he went missing and all that, and then came back and then didn't work out. So with the Rashford situation, and it might time for West Ham to rescue him for the loan for the rest of the season from January. Loan him for the rest of the season. We need a striker. Maybe just Man United pay half his wage. We pay the other half. Get him playing football. Then United can sell him on at the end of the season. I don't think anyone will buy him in January. I just think they'll be priced out of the market. So a loan will do for Rashford if the manager doesn't want him at all. And maybe West Ham might fit because they'll be looking for a striker to cover Antonio. So that's my only thoughts on it. But it's a free hit for Man United. They'll have good results. They'll have bad results. They're being consistent. But as Rasantham said, it's him about getting his players he wants and using this season to sort of develop and seeing what he needs to buy. I don't think they're buying much in January. I think they do all their buying in the summer. If they do, I'm a bit concerned about at the top, with what's going on with the director of football leaving all of a sudden. You wanted
Yeah,
him from
Ashworth, innit? Yeah, they
Newcastle.
spent
Yeah.
they spent longer chasing him than
You
the
you
time he
wanted,
spent in
yeah,
the job.
exactly. He was on gardening leave more than the actual
Yeah,
contract.
yeah, he was there
So
5 months, I think, in the job. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, but that's my views on it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think obviously with United with their sort of predicament in the league, I think they go all out for Europa League to try and win that. And then the league he can say, well look where I when I joined where we were. So yeah, you can't really be held accountable for the league position. I agree. I'll move on. I'll move on to us. I'll go with us next. Obviously we just lost to Fulham. Poor performance. To be honest, first half an hour we looked good. We deservedly took the lead, and then from that, it was all Fulham pretty much for the rest of the game. So yeah, we didn't deserve anything from that, and then obviously it follows up from the drop points away at Everton. So I know people were starting to put us in talk conversations for winning the title and everything, but that's firmly shut. That's shut off now. Liverpool, they got 2 games in hand. They can go 10 points clear if they win their game. So for us, it's just about getting back into the top four. Ideally, at least I want to at least see if we can at least compete for second or third. Don't want to be dragged into battles for fourth. That bit of the table there is congested. There's 4 or 5 teams that are trying to get fourth. So if we can stay ahead of them, then I think that will be progress based on where we've been for the past 2 years. So if any of our fans are going to start getting angry now, we just drop points in 2 games, then welcome back to reality, I'll say. We're not at Liverpool's level. They're clear of us. Even Arsenal, I still think they'll probably overtake us and finish second. So Yeah,
But
bad few games for
how
us.
long, Theon? Then
Yeah,
how long do you think it will take for you to get to that level then?
next
Because it's a
season I
young
expect.
team.
Next
It's a
season,
young, yeah. But what's going to be the difference
no,
between
I expect.
the squad
Well,
you've got
firstly, we need.
now
I need more. I
and the
need
squad you
experience.
have next season?
I need more. As I've seen our age in terms of the average age of our squad, we're comfortably the youngest. They showed it
Yeah,
before the
we
game.
know that. So what would
So
you need
I need more
more
experienced
then?
players to come into this team. I need more like sort of 27, 28-year olds that have
But
got.
why can't you get them in January? Who are
Nah,
you looking for then?
well, no. The January market. I mean, obviously, it's possible to buy players in January, but if I'm looking at all that sort of players we're linked with, like Osimhen and these guys, they're not gonna Galatasaray. They just bought him in the summer, for example. I don't know if they're gonna. And they bought him for about 60, 70 million. So I don't know if we're gonna be paying what they want for them in January, especially after a summer of like a lot of ins and outs at our club. I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna get the players that we need in January. I might be wrong. I might be wrong, but I know this season now, in terms of keeping up with Liverpool, that's done. That's done because we ain't gonna close that gap. So I need more. Not saying like 7 or 8. I just need a couple. We have no 27, 28-year olds other than Nkunku, who's injury prone. He doesn't even like start games consistently and he doesn't really feature much. I'm seeing he might be actually let go in January. I'm seeing the rumors he might even be let go because he's not happy with his game time. So yeah, I'm not sure what's happening there, but yeah, we need to for me wait till the summer because we've even got still even though we've trimmed the squad, we've even still got a lot of players. Our squad's still big, so we actually still need to do the last little clear out in terms of getting rid of. We still have the likes of Disassi, people like this Maker, people that aren't even getting games in the Prem and not in the Conference League either. So I think January will be more clearing out the remaining players we need to make space for players to come in the summer. I don't think that's gonna January 1 month. I don't think is enough to do what we need. Yeah,
But
that's why.
if you're a 26, 27, 28-year old and you get bought by Chelsea, you're going to want to play every week.
Yeah, well, we need starters. I still think there's gaps in this squad that we need first team signings in anyway, and some of our starting 11 I still think need to be pushed to the bench anyways. But our squad is not perfect. It's not perfect. We've still shown. Well, I mean, we've been much more consistent this season, but there's still been inconsistencies in games, but we've been able to turn
Mm.
games around late, like sort of late goals coming back. Even Brentford the other week were lucky. Obviously, they hit the bar like 2 minutes to go. On another day, that goes in, we drop points there. So we've put together a good up until today. I think we're unbeaten like 9 games in the Prem, but there's draws in there. Couple of games where it's gone either way, or it could have gone either way, but it's landed in our favor. But over the 38 games, you're
So
going to see the likes.
you're ruling out Chelsea winning the title.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah, we've got no chance. We've got no chance of winning the league this season. But I want us to see what pick up the as Rosanfon said, silverware. We've not won a trophy in 3 years. We need obviously FA Cups coming. We're Conference League. We're still in that. We're favorites for that, I guess. So we need to be winning that, and then just try to consolidate a position in the league. Third,
Okay.
nothing below fourth for me. If we fall below fourth, then I'll say that's unacceptable this season. So we need to be getting back into the top four. That's where I think, and then we go from there. That's what I think. But yeah, anything any of you want to say on us as well?
So, given currently Chelsea being in a top four position, you're going to be playing Champions League next season. How will that factor given that Maresca this season has pretty much been playing I guess, a Chelsea C team in the Conference League? No Palmer. He's been playing Felix and Nkunku pretty much in the cup games. Do you think Maresca can juggle it next season if you guys get Champions League?
Yeah, I think he can, but obviously we still we need more quality in the squad. Obviously, we've been lucky in Europe where he's pretty much our best team, our Premier League team, week to week. We've basically been playing 1 game a week, even though on paper it's 3, 4 games. I think he will be able to, but he's gonna need. I think he needs more quality. I've seen guys like Badia Shield, Disassi, people like that. We need to be ruthless. I don't think these guys are good enough. We don't have a number one goalkeeper in my opinion, or Jorgensen, who's been playing in the Conference League. I've been waiting to see him get a chance in the league, and he's only played against Southampton. You can't really judge him against Southampton. The goal he had no chance with anyways, and then he didn't really have anything else to do. So there's certain positions where I don't think we have the quality at the moment, but when we do, I think if you the more quality we have in the squad and the more depth, then I think he's going to be able to rotate more, and I'll be able to um get a more accurate sort of reflection of some of the squad players. Do I think they're good enough to play in the Prem? Because we've got players where I've not seen them play in the Prem. That we've got Keenan Dewsbury Hall, for example. I don't know. I don't know if he's good or not because he only plays Conference League games where we're expected to dominate 80% possession and all of that. So I think next season I need to see more like players being given chances in multiple competitions. I think that's what I need from us.
But how
Yeah.
does Chelsea address the transfer market and the culture? Because all these players you've mentioned,
Yeah.
Disasi, Deschamps, these are all players that were signed under Todd Bowley.
Yeah.
So
So
if you're telling me that the same owner and the sporting director are buying and selling,
mhm.
are they addressing the issue? Are they going to correct it? Because how much money can Todd Bowley keep spending and churning
Yeah.
before he finds something right? So for me, as for Chelsea's fans, they should go into the summer knowing that what's happened before has clearly not worked or not worked effectively. They need
Yeah.
to change their style, change their scouting. No offense,
I agree.
half of their players that they signed I've never heard of prior to joining Chelsea.
Yep.
So, and they've spent big money as well.
hmm
100 plus on Enzo, 100 plus on Caicedo. Fair enough, I think them two have been performing on form recently. However, players like Badiashile, Disasi,
Mudrick.
Mudryk,
Those
oh come
guys,
on.
man.
There's too many
Yeah.
players. I would even argue like Felix was almost like a pressure signing. Like he had nowhere to go, left
Yeah.
out Athletic. I feel like you guys tried to bank on him. I feel like he hasn't really lived up to the expectations either. So I
hmm
think you guys need to definitely rethink your approach to the transfer window. Because
I
if you
agree.
don't, you're gonna go in with the same mentality, buy a bunch of 20 to 22 euros that no one has ever heard of, and then Chelsea fans will be complaining they're
Yeah.
not good enough, even though on paper the board will say we backed the manager.
I agree. I want the strategy in terms of our like transfer strategy in the market. I think now we've got enough young players now. We've even got Esteval coming in like another Brazilian wonder kid supposedly. He's coming in the summer. So I think now the young players we can see from this season the young players that I think or well I think maybe most people would agree are good enough. You keep them obviously, but now as I said this summer now I want to see more experience coming in. So that's the main change I want to see in terms of our strategy. A bit more proven signings. Come on, not everyone, you can't buy everyone that have like some certain people they've not even played 30 games in Europe, like or like combining their whole careers. I don't want to see any of that anymore, to be honest. And I want to see more seasoned players coming in. That's what I want to see in terms of this summer moving forward. That's what I want to see. But yeah, anything, James? Anything to add or any other questions?
No, I've made it clear. I think Chelsea, it's going to take him a couple of years because I can't see a 27, 28-year-old experienced player wanting to play for Chelsea unless he's guaranteed week in, week out football.
That's what I want.
And
I want starting 11 players. I
just
need
don't,
starting 11 players coming in. Like that's what I
I just
need.
don't think, yeah, but I don't think the mentality of your club manager and the owner is about spending the money on a 27, 28-year-old.
So then that mean that I mean we're gonna be because I don't
And he
see
said
any
earlier,
team. Yeah. Yeah.
he
hmm
said a few days ago to a manager that they're ahead of schedule to where they want to
Yeah. Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
So what's their schedule? 2 years' time they challenge for the Premier League. So the players that he's
Good
got now
question.
have 2 years under him for the experience. And then
hmm
your 23-year-olds currently become the 25, 26-year-old with experience. But will he be given 2 seasons to
Yeah. I
realistically at
mean,
Chelsea? He ain't going to be
I,
given 2 seasons at Chelsea.
I think they've massively undervalued how much experience goes. I'm not saying it goes, obviously you need the quality there, but you look at Liverpool, for example, the know-how they've got in that team. They've got proven winners. Van Dijk, Alisson, Trent, these guys, they know they've won Champions League, Premier League. We don't have, I mean, Enzo's won the World Cup at club level. We don't have anyone in this squad that has done anything anywhere near to what these guys have done. And I do think that goes a long way to winning over a 38 game season, in my opinion. So, I mean, if we don't get experience, then we'll be here more inconsistencies next season. And until that's cut out, we won't be challenging. We won't be challenging, and it'll be the cup competitions we'll be trying to win. But in the league, we won't compete. That's my opinion. Oh, I just seen James go on mute. I was just about to ask him about West Ham. West Ham, your thoughts on West Ham obviously winning today, but I don't think you're that impressed, to be honest.
Well, we're on an unbeaten run of quite a while, but it's just picking up points here, there, and everywhere. Point against Brighton last time out at home. We beat Wolves at home. Uh, we got a win today against Southampton, but we don't seem to be sort of having this different style of play that what a lot of the fans want to see. There's no real sort of identity that's come with this manager. It's similar to David Moyes. There's no real sort of like. There's a lot of club players not happy, allegedly. But if he keeps winning, keeps picking up points, he'd be all right. I think we've got to move away now from the possibility of him being sacked. I don't think that's going to happen. But I also think we need to be careful that we don't waste the season because I don't. I think he'll only stay for a season, but will we be better off? I don't know. Will our elite players, want to move on if we don't get back into Europe? If we don't have a good cup run, it's a tough dilemma to be in. But good win today, you could say. But again, a lot of people online saying that there was no identity. Southampton had more shots in the first half than they had all season, so that says a lot.
Oh,
Fabianski came off injured, bad injury, but he was lucky enough to be sat on the bench the second half, so it's not as bad in terms of him health wise. But whether he'll be out for Sunday, possibility, and we got Liverpool on Sunday at home, so
oh,
it goes from sort of like steady, steady, but there's no consistency with it, and I think that's what the problem is. But could you say the old adage, is there three worse teams than what we are at the moment in the Premier League? Definitely. Is
yeah,
there probably four or
yeah, for
five
sure.
worse teams? Four or five worse teams? Definitely, probably.
Yeah.
So I think we'd be all right, but we don't want a wasted season. And that's what I think this season will turn into. He'll be with us for this season. Whether he will do enough to stay for a second season, it just depends on where West Ham want to go. But when we've had European football for the last 3 or 4 seasons, we don't want to go 2 or 3 seasons without it because we then don't attract the players. We
Mm,
could have got rid of Paquetá for like 80 odd million to Man City. Well, they're not going to pay 80 million for him now.
mhm,
Kudus could go, Bowen could go if he wants to be serious about getting into the England squad for the World Cup and all of that. So
mm.
it's but you take the win today. I want to win. I want us to stay in the league. It's not what I expected, but it's West Ham. It's West Ham, but you can more or less discount this season already, and we might pick up one or two unusual results. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Liverpool lose for the first time away this season in the Premier League to us on Sunday. That's the sort of season we've had.
Okay. Obviously, you speak about like you don't want the season to be wasted. I'm guessing obviously from the playing style perspective, maybe the good football won't come. But in terms of league position, is there any, in your eyes, is there any way the season can be salvaged in terms of league finish or anything below European football? Would you consider that a season wasted, or what are your thoughts
We
on that?
should we should at the start of the season with a new manager, the seasons we've had before, we should have been looking to finish in the top 8 with a new manager.
Mm,
That's not going to happen. We might finish in the top 12, maybe. And that's me being generous. But I think the season alone has already been unpredictable in terms of teams are picking points up at random places, which you wouldn't expect. Like, who would have expected Bournemouth Palace to finish 0-0 today? Don't think
yeah,
no one would have had 0-0 on that cards. The way
yeah.
Palace were scoring away from home at Brighton, they scored three. Bournemouth scoring three at Old
I
Trafford.
expected Bournemouth
Three,
to win. They're like fourth or
yeah,
fifth in
but
the
you'd
league or
expect
something.
goals. You'd expect goals. You wouldn't have
Yep.
expected a 0-0. You
Yeah.
know, and that's where I think the inconsistency puts that table. Like, you've got Liverpool flying and you've got Southampton at the bottom, but anything in between, you win 2 or 3 games on the spin, you're moving out of the bottom, the second page, and into the
Into
top
mid-table.
page.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
you're losing 2 or 3 on the spin, dropping points, like you said earlier on, Sion. You're moving out of that top 4 into that sort of seventh or eighth position. So
Mm.
it's so like the table will be very up and down and all
Yeah.
over the place. So I don't, but West Ham aren't strong enough to finish in the top 8 because the thing he hasn't done which is what another frustration. He hasn't done a consistent run of results. Yes, we're unbeaten in 4 or 5, but 4 of them have been draws. I'd
Mm.
sooner lose 2 and win 2. You get more
Yeah,
points.
yeah,
There's no point drawing 4 games in a row, whereas we might as well have lost 2 and won 2, and we have 6 points.
yeah.
That's better than 4 if you're
Mm.
looking at where you want to be in the table. So
Yeah.
that's where it's sort of like, yes, we're unbeaten, but what we unbeaten with? Draws, that's not good enough.
Mm.
That's not going to push you up the table. That's not going to get you into the top 10, you
Yeah.
know? So, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. If you
Ross?
if you said to me on Boxing Day, West Ham would be, I think it's 4 points, maybe 5 behind Man City, I would have took that at the start of the season,
Oh,
but not how
wow.
it's worked out.
Wow.
Not
Yeah,
how it's worked out where
this
Man
season,
City are. But if
I think,
someone said to me in August, James, you'll be 4 or 5 points behind Man City on Boxing Day, I would have grabbed it there and then because I would have thought Man City would have been top of the table,
and
but
you're
they're
third,
not.
fourth. Yeah.
So do you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
But the
there's
only thing
something
I'll say
like
is
7 or 8.
context is very important. I
Yeah.
think I think we need to remember the
No,
context.
that's what he's saying.
You
Yeah,
don't
that's
want to
what he's
be
saying.
19th and 20th and 4 points away from Man
That's
City.
what you're saying. That's what he's saying. He
Uh,
didn't
Yeah,
know that this was going to be the
that's what I'm
context.
saying. But if you
Mm.
don't know, you would have thought Man City would have been first or second on Boxing Day this season back in August.
Yep, and that's why
So
I
you would
same
have
thing for
you
me.
would have
I would have
taken,
said I would have taken that as well. I would have
yeah,
taken that if you told me everyone
anyone
would,
would have
because you're
done.
thinking Man City,
Anyone
the
would have done.
juggernaut they are, they're gonna
Even a
be.
Man United fan would have done.
Yeah, no, exactly. Probably the only if you asked any team, the only ones probably Arsenal because they would have expected to be like this is the year or at some point.
Well,
Um,
Arsenal now got their fame. Now they've got their mega excuse for not winning the title because of Saka. So they're
yeah,
all
yeah,
sitting at home laughing now. They're so happy he's injured because they've got no other excuses. Arteta can have another season now because it was a shame Saka missed most of the season.
mm.
They're dining out on that. They're dining out on that.
Ross,
Arsenal, 5 years
any,
anniversary of Arteta. What's he won in those
oh yeah,
5 years?
he won the FA
What's he
Cup
won?
With Emery's team since he built his
One
own team.
trophy,
Yeah,
one trophy, and he had the tongue in cheek to say he
yeah,
had 3 because he won
yeah.
2 Community Shields.
Community Shield. Literally, if you go on the FA website, literally, it's a curtain raiser. It's not an official trophy. Factually, it's not a trophy, but yeah. Arteta, he's
To
clutching
win
at
a cup, you've
straws,
got
I
to
guess.
go on a cup run. You don't go on a cup run to win the Charity Shield or
Yeah.
Community Shield. It's a
Hmm.
one-off pre-season opener.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, the cheek of him. Yeah. But Ross, anything to add on West Ham?
I think based on today's performance, I think, in my personal opinion, I think West Ham were lucky to win today. I think if any other team had Southampton's chances, I think at least a goal should have came. Again, Fabianski, 2 games in a row now from what I've seen firsthand, he's kept West Ham in the game. Very
Mm.
lucky to, recover or is recovering his injury. As the commentator said, he is back in the bench. So hopefully he does. It's not as bad as we thought initially it was. But in that game, I just saw save after save from Fabianski. He was just keeping them in the game. Same with the Brighton game when they were at home. I think they could have easily lost that game had Fabianski not come in clutch.
Same with the Bournemouth game away. Fabianski, a 38-year-old goalkeeper, keeping West Ham in it.
But see,
Wow.
when we was watching
Yeah.
the game, I said to you, I thought Southampton might win here, purely
Mm.
based on some Fabianski coming off.
Yeah.
Mm.
Wow.
Again, I don't like to be a stat merchant, but if you look at the stats, Southampton 5 shots on target, West Ham 2, and there was only 1 goal in the game.
Mm.
I think West Ham against the run of play got the goal. I think not saying West Ham didn't have better chances, but when you look at domination, first half compared to second half, West Ham, I think
Mm.
Southampton, they'll be kicking themselves.
But it also comes back to the argument about what West Ham wanted with this new manager.
Yeah.
They
Because
wanted more
Moyes
free
could do
flowing
this, but better.
football.
Moyes did this, but
Yeah,
better. Like.
but
Mm.
this is the issue is that you know we wanted more free flowing football, more attacking football. So, but no, I agree. But we'll take the 3 points
I mean,
and
at the
we'll
end of
see
the day,
what
three
happens
points are
on
three
Sunday.
points.
Yeah. But yeah, no. Anything to add before we wrap up? Obviously, I'm guessing the United game's going on now. What are our
Just
thoughts on that? I mean, I haven't checked anything. You you think United can go on a run, Ross?
not yet. I think what people fail to realize is that there's an issue that's rooted deeper with United. I think people, had a lot of faith in Amarin. We beat Man City, everyone was happy, but then we got into reality. Lost 4-3 to Spurs, lost 3-0 to Bournemouth, could potentially lose today. I think what fans need to realize, especially with the new and upcoming ones, the manager, you can replace the manager how many times, but if you do not address the problems at the top, from the board of directors to the scouting team to the people that are responsible for making the operations run, unfortunately, things that United or any club will not resolve. We've seen how many managers come now since post Fergie. I think it's six actual appointments. None of them have really succeeded or come close. When I say success, fair enough. Mourinho won two trophy, two cup competitions, Ten Hag two cup competitions, but no real FA, no real Premier League there, no Champions Leagues. I mean, I can't remember the last time it was in Champions League. What was it? The season before?
Mm.
Got knocked out of the group stage. Again, for me, when you go in a cup, you go all the way. I don't like to think quarterfinals or semi-finals are an accomplishment. But if you were to look at the benchmark, I think it's 2018-19. That was the last time we made it to the quarterfinals. We haven't made it since then.
Of
So these are
Champions League.
small margins that, I'm not saying this is a measure of scale for me. However, we need to be consistently making it past the round of 16 or past the group stages. With United
Yeah.
specifically, I think, I can't remember who we beat. I think it might have been Bödeglimt. That was our first away European victory since last year.
Over a year,
Since,
over a year or
yeah,
something, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. I
2020, I
saw
think it
that.
was 2023 when we beat Betis 4-1. That was the last time, or away. That was the last time we won away in a European match. That is unacceptable for me. So there is a lot of things we need to address. There's a lot of things that needs to be done. Unfortunately, I don't think one man can do it. I think there's too many personalities at the club. It's all clashing. They're not on the same wavelength, unfortunately. They're getting rid of Ferguson. Whether I agree with it or not, it doesn't matter, but they're getting rid of, club legends, or rest in peace, Kath, the receptionist at United as well. Like these are integral people that have been at the club, been a part of the culture. Unfortunately, I don't recognize my club anymore. Just to slightly go off on a tangent, with the club, they're now raising the prices of the tickets to £66, regardless of your age. So it doesn't matter if you're an adult, an OAP, or a senior child, they've now raised the prices. So clearly the club has no interest in the fans either. They're clearly viewing it as a business. That's fine. You can view it as a business. Unfortunately, you're all going to attract more tourist fans. The authenticity of Man United is going to now go down. United, Old Trafford will literally be viewed as a tourist venture for people visiting Manchester.
Even then, they need to fix the stadium, the
One,
mouse
they need to fix the
infestation and
stadium,
stuff
but
like that.
like
Yeah.
if you're gonna take these measures, at least give the true fans that are watching from home or watching from abroad something to actually look forward to. Win a trophy, get some players in, fight for something. I get it. At the end of the day, football in general as a whole is no longer just a game that people used to play. It's now become a business. We've seen it now. Look at the advertising costs, 1 billion just to watch it on TV. Things like this is no longer just it's no longer a non-profitable organization. It's become profit. It's all about money now. It's all about monetization. But there needs to be something for United to fight for. If you're going to do all of this stuff, give something in return. So it's not all gloom and misery. Again, there's a long way. I mean, it's been a long way since Ferguson left. We haven't really refound the identity, the structure. I don't think we will for a long time. That's my personal opinion. We've seen clubs like this happen before. We've seen the AC Milans, the Inter Milans. You'd even argue Arsenal during Wenger's era. And my worst fear is that United will just completely fall off. We've seen teams like Schalke, used to be one of the German top greatest. They've now
Mm.
fallen off. I'd hate to see that happen to my club if things are not taken into action quickly.
James, anything to add before we wrap up? Or-
But no, no, other than, I just think the next few weeks will be interesting to see where clubs are and what happens. And you've got the FA Cup coming up. Talking
Mm.
of what Stamford was saying, they've got a tough draw away at Arsenal in the FA Cup.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So, so it's like, there's a lot of football in the next 2 weeks to be had, not just in the Premier League, but the FA Cup as well. But we're still, we'll still see what happens, and we'll still support our clubs.
definitely. I
Yeah,
just have one
yeah, yeah.
question though.
We ain't going anywhere. We
If
ain't going anywhere.
Arsenal lose against United in the FA Cup, where does Arsenal fans and football fans in general see Arteta? Because they'll be out of all competitions except Carabao and Champions League.
Yeah, I'm seeing Arsenal
Carabao
fans
Cup,
saying, yeah, yeah,
Carabao
yeah,
Cup, given Newcastle's form,
You know what Arsenal
he can
fans
go
would be
either side.
saying? You know what they'd be saying, Recep, I said it earlier on. Oh, it's because Saka's injured, so we've got to wait another season. That's their
But
excuse. There's always an
but
excuse
then
with
that just shows
Arsenal.
that they're a one-man team.
There's always an excuse for
yeah.
Arsenal. You know, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Anyway, let's
Well,
wrap it
We'll
up
see.
before we
Yeah,
get
we'll
even
see what
more
happens
depressed.
with that and the
Discussing
rest of the
Arsenal, and none of
football.
us are Arsenal. Yeah, you
Yeah.
know,
So I'll say,
I've got my dinner to get to as well.
I'll
You
say,
know,
hope everyone had a good Christmas day. Happy Boxing Day. Well, yeah, it is Boxing Day, and Happy New Year in advance. We'll see you all in the new year. Take care.
take care.
guys.